Live a life that is worthy of emulation. Live a life that can attract somebody. Do you desire to be fruitful? The qualification for fruitfulness is that you must abide in him. It's hereby settled. When men shall say there is a casting down, you will announce that there is a lifting up. Today is a very special day. The choir have preached to us, and their preaching is explicit. Their preaching is such that if you are not a hearer but a doer, and you just do what they preached to us today, the kingdom is fulfilled. They taught us today that no one man can do this thing all alone. You will play your part and I will play my part. If I can do it alone, God wouldn't ask you to come. If you can do it alone, he will not ask me to come. The choir should not say the ushering department is doing nothing. The usher should not say that the follow-up group is a nobody. The pastor should not neglect the elder. The elder should not look down on the deaconess. Every part in this body has a strong and a powerful role to play for the kingdom to succeed. I need you as well as you need me. Nobody is too important. Nobody is less important. Everyone is important in the kingdom. For you will play your part and I will play my part. But the good news is, whether you play your part up or you play your part down, the question is, why are we here? The primary reason God brought us here is the primary reason that you came into the world. You did not come into the world to marry. That is why it is only a fool that will kill himself or herself for marriage. That is not why you came. You did not come into the world to have children. That is why it is only a fool that will kill himself or kill herself because of child or children. No wise man in God, it takes a person who is heavenly useless, who is kingdom useless, to take his life because of another. You did not come into this life for anybody. There is nobody worth you dying for. Why are you here? At a time of the celebration of the choir, it's a time you should ask yourself one question. You did not come into the world to make money. I said at Port Harcourt on Friday that you will not rate my relationship with God by the reason of how much money I have. Because my relationship with God is not financial. My relationship with God is spiritual. So whether I have money or not, that is not the determining factor of whether I know God or not. So don't rate my knowledge of God by how much money I have. My relationship with God is not financial. You did not come into the world to make money. So money is not what you're dying for. Nobody should die because of money. Don't give your life because of money. You are not here for money. Money will come and go. Everything on earth will come and go. Everything on earth will come and go. But there is something that stays forever. And that is what I'm going to talk on in the next few minutes. And I'll close. But hear me, hear me. Some of you, you don't know what you are here for. Everything that God made available for you, he made available so that you can use it to do one thing. And what is that thing? Worship. If God put money in your hand, that money is for you to use it to worship him. If God gave you beauty, that beauty is for you to use the beauty to worship him. If God gave you knowledge, that knowledge is for you to use it to worship him. If God gave you talent, that talent is for you to use it to worship him. If you are gifted, that gift is for you to use it to worship him. So the bottom line is that the reason I'm here is to worship the Lord. Now, children, money, wealth, car, houses are all addition. The Bible says, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and every other thing shall be added unto you. The primary thing in your life should be worship. I will tolerate a man that joke with my money. I will tolerate anybody that joke with my clothes. I will tolerate anybody that joke with anything around me, but I will not tolerate anybody that jokes with my worship. If they can break down your worship stand, they have broken you down. Every other thing will collapse. If they take away money from your hand, God can give you another. If they take away wife, God can give you another. That is why don't kill yourself when you lose anything, because you will need yourself when another one will come. Don't kill yourself when you lose your money. You will need yourself when better money will come. Anything that is proven to be difficult, let it go. There is only one thing you should not compromise. That thing is your standpoint of worship. Don't compromise your worship. Don't joke with your worship. Don't play around your worship. Anything that can break down your worship is something that can finish you up. You are not down when anything crumbles in your life, but you are down when your worship crumbles. When you don't have money, you are not broke. When you don't have a house, you are not broke. You are broke when your worship stand is shattered. Anytime you can no longer stand to worship God, anytime your worship stand have issues, that is when you are broken. That is when you are down. Anything can happen. At that time, you are prone to serpentine consumption. At that time, you are prone to anything. Any danger can come your way. But if you are in right standing with God, as we were coming back from Omaha that morning, I called my people. I said, all of you, don't drive speed. Take it easy. Be driving slowly. The angels of the Lord are watching. Heaven is interested in your journey. Don't be in a hurry. I said, everybody, take it cool. Drive your cars gently. I'm right behind you. Heaven is right behind you. When you're in right standing with God, you fear nothing. Anytime you begin to live in fear, there is issue with your worship stand. The only reason he brought you here is to worship him. He did not bring you for food. He did not bring you for money. He did not bring you to gain a job. It's only a fool that we say, God, give me this job or I die. If that job is not your own, let it go. If that job go, a better one will come. What you don't need to lose, what you don't have to lose is your worship. I can stand for my worship. Oh, touch my money, I don't mind. Touch my health, I don't mind. But you will not touch my worship. Because if I get my worship intact, anything can still fall in. Because I know the man of Galilee. If there's a man to praise him, when I pray, there's a God to answer. If there's a man to worship him, when I call him, there's a God to show up. If there's a man to call upon Jehovah, when I need him, there's a God to show up. I can allow you to touch anything, but I won't let you touch my worship. If you touch my worship, I'm gone. But if you touch my money today, another money will come tomorrow. If you carry my car today, another car will come tomorrow. If you carry worship, where do I go to? When you take my worship, I won't let you touch my worship. That is why you must not allow anybody to cause confusion in your life. Show me somebody that have confusion in his or her life. I will show you somebody whose worship stand is not stable. Once your worship stand is not stable, that is when you begin to find fault in everything. That is when everything around you begin to go haywire. And anytime, watch the life of anyone who call himself or herself a Christian. Anytime you begin to complain too much, your worship have issues. Anytime nobody can please you anymore. Anytime nothing satisfies you anymore. Anytime the fear of God begin to live your life, I know that there is trouble. Ladies and gentlemen, turn with me very quickly to the book of Romans chapter number 1. This is not a preaching day because of our time. And there is something I will tell the church today. There is something I will make known to the church today. And there is not something I will declare in this meeting openly. You will forgive me, but I will tell you the truth. And I will tell you nothing but the truth. Hear me now. Anything in your life can go, but there is something you must preserve. That thing is your worship center. That is the only thing that is so important. That is the only thing that you cannot do without. There is nobody in this world that you cannot do without. So I told you. Nobody. The only thing you can do without is worship. Touch your neighbor and say worship. The target of the devil is not where you're looking at. He's targeting to distract you so that he can fall you from your worship center. If he brings you down from your worship center, he can mess you up. But he's aware that if you still stand in faith, worshiping the God of your salvation, there is limit to what he can do. He can tempt you like Job. He can torment you anyhow. But can I say this to you? In everything that he did to Job, there was something hanging on the head of Job that Job didn't know about, but the devil knew it. Job didn't know that the devil was not allowed to touch his life. Job didn't know. No matter how he will push you, there is a limit to what he can do. But once your worship level collapses, anything can happen. Because that is the bond you have with God. Don't allow the wrong person advise you when it has to do with worship. Because what they are seeing may not be what you are seeing. Where they are going may not be where you are going. Are you a choir member today dedicated to use your voice to glorify God, or you are an entertainer? Anytime you sing to please self, it becomes no longer singing to the glory of God. You become an entertainer and not a worshiper. A worshiper do not entertain. Anytime you sing to please people, anytime you sing for self, it is no longer godly. It is no longer of God. God is no more in it and has no pleasure in it. For God to have pleasure in it, your worship, your praise, your thanksgiving should be to the glory of God. You don't sing to show yourself. You don't sing for anybody to know. You don't sing for anybody to praise you. You don't sing for anybody to celebrate you. You sing to the glory of God. And when you sing that way, God is honored. And God accepts your worship. God accepts your praise. And that is when you can be blessed. When you sing for self, you have gotten what you're looking for. God will not reward you for nothing. You don't have a reward. But when you serve him, when you worship him with your heart, your service to God, your worship that you render to God, what is at the back of your mind? Are you worshiping to be noticed? Are you worshiping so that somebody will sing your praise? Are you doing it so that somebody will know you are here? Are you doing it so that we will praise you and sing your praise? When we don't praise you, you get angry. When you are such a person, something is wrong. Your worship stand have issues. Don't do anything for self. Don't do it to be seen. Don't do it to be discovered. Don't do it for what people will say. Don't be a show-off worshiper. Don't worship to show off. When there is nobody in this hall, how many persons can walk into this hall and sweep the church and clean the church when nobody is seeing you? Behind, when I'm not there, what can you conveniently and comfortably say about the church and about me? That is what matters, not that one you say before me. Not that one you say when the pastors are there. Not that one you say when the leaders are there. Behind, when nobody is there, how do you represent the church? That is what shows whether you are a true worshiper or you are a destroyer. I came to talk to you today. Make up your mind to be a true worshiper. Is somebody there? Romans chapter 1. Give me verse 21. They knew God, but they do not glorify him. Some translations said, New Living Translation said worship. They glorify him not at all. Now, because that, when they knew God, they glorified him not as God. They did not glorify him as God. Neither were they thankful. Some of us are so given to complaining. Some of us are so given to grumbling that we are not thankful. You are always demanding and demanding. We know that human needs are insatiable. But can I say this to you? Can't you pause and remember one prayer that God have answered? Can't you pause and remember one thing that God has done? Why is it that the only thing that dominates your heart are the things that you are yet to receive? And when you receive, another need will show up, because on earth, so long as you are alive, you keep having needs till the day we will depart this earth. But can I say this to you? Why can't you be thankful for what he has done? Why can't you be thankful for the ones that he has answered? Why can't you live a life of a true worshiper and a thanksgiver rather than complaining? You told God at one time, Father, if you can give me one child, I'll be okay. Father, just one. The world, they are laughing at me. They are mocking me. Just one. Don't do it anyhow. Just give me one. If I ask you for anything again, no, I'm not the one. And God gives it to you. Immediately that one is arriving as you are carrying the baby in your hand. Oh God. Two is better than one. Oh, two. Oh God, a second one. Why don't you stop and say thank you? Thank him for the one that he has done. Thank him for the one that he has done. When you were squatting, you told God, if I can get a room to myself, Lord, just one room apartment. If I can pay landlord and have one room apartment, even if there is no bed, let me lie on the mat. God, it is finished. I will not ask for any other thing. And he gives you a room. The day you are packing into that room, you look around. Hey! Some people are living in 2 rooms. So, God, why is my own life like this? Complain. You ask for it, but from the first day you are packing into that place, complaint have started. God, hey, this kind of life, sir. Some people are living in 2 rooms. God, what did the people living in 2 rooms do for you that I have not done? Am I not a choir member? Lord, am I not in sanctuary department? Look at the dust all over my head. Look at my leg, water. God, why? Immediately, instead of saying thank you, instead of being grateful, you start complaining from the first day. And God, in his loving kindness, may decide to give you the 2 rooms. The day you are packing into the 2 rooms, you turn around, you see, I have 4 children. How are we going to stay here? God, what is this? Only 2 rooms. What happened to 3-bedroom flats? 3-bedroom and parlor. God, what did I do? Is this how my life will end? Complain. And if God gives you the 3-bedroom flat, as you pack into the 3-bedroom flat, you start complaining. You see? Landlord, so now this, and after 1 year, now God check it. After 1 year, landlord will come again. Can't I have my own? What is this? Brother, why don't you pause and give thanks? Thank him for the one that he has done. Thank him for the one that he has done. Then he will do another. Some of us are worshiping God like users. No human being wants to be used, not even God. Thank him, worship him. My brother, the life you're living today is not your life. Somebody gave it to you. Thank him. Every morning when you wake up, give him thanks. Don't wake up in the morning and say, God, look at my shop. There is nothing in my shop. The reason you are remembering the shop is because you have life. If there is no life, you won't remember shop. Some people are somewhere saying, if I can get my life, take my shop. Some people are somewhere saying, if I can get back my life, if it is possible for me to be alive again, let marriage go, I don't want it anymore. Some people are saying, let children go, I don't want it anymore. Or let wealth go, I don't want it anymore. Some people are ready to give everything they have that they may have life. Here you are, you have life, and you are saying to God, give me money or I die. What is this life for if you have no money? That is act of stupidity. My friend, pause and give him worship. You came into the world to worship him. You are not here for all of those things that you are looking at. Why do you walk into church and you're looking at what somebody else is putting on? Shall I remind you that what you're wearing today may not be what you wore 10 years ago? The God that sustained you 10 years ago will still sustain you after now. Shall I remind you that a day is enough to change your story? Do what you can now. What you cannot do, leave it. God knows what he's doing. Better things are still coming. New things are still coming. Because the best car 10 years ago is nothing to write home about today. There are people who killed themselves 10 years ago over the raining vehicle. They are no more alive to see latest machine. Can I also say this to you? In the next 3 years, more machines are coming. There are people here today who can barely feed, but in the next 3 years, they will be riding in those machines. Because life is in phases, just like men are in sizes. My friend, worship God. You are not in competition with anybody. Life is not about competition. Don't look at anybody and conclude yourself. Don't compare yourself with anybody. There is no comparison in life. You will do your own and I will do my own. My son called me early hours of the morning and said to me, Daddy, I have been thinking. I said, what is that? He said, I don't know what to tell the church today. I said, what about that? He said, Daddy, after your ministration, what am I going to do? I said, shut up. Enter the church, do your own. If you enter the church and you are looking at what I have done to do, that is where you run into trouble. But if you enter your church and you operate according to the level of grace that God has given you, now he will not punish you for not using my grace. He will punish you for not using your own. So my friend, stand there and use your own. And he said, Daddy, thank you. I said, come on, stand there, use your grace. Are you expecting to use my own? Will you shout, in there? You will do your own, and I will do my own. Go there and do your own, my friend. You are not competing with anybody. Move with your heads up. He that brought you here can take you further. You have not come to the end of the road. If he sustained you up until now, anything he doesn't give you, you don't need it. Anything that God cannot give me, I don't need that thing. That's what I tell myself every day. Whatever God cannot give me, I don't need that thing. My friend, why are you bothering yourself? Who are you competing with? There is nothing you do today that will be the highest. Somebody else is coming. More bombs are coming. More dangerous men and women are coming. If you think you're beautiful, get to the road, you see beautiful women, and you will hide your head. If you think you're rich, get into town, you will see rich men. Am I talking to you right now? Hear me, brother. Worship God. Thank him for the one he has given to you. Give him worship. Worship him for who you are. Thank him for who he has made you. Some of us look God in the face and say, God, why did you make me like this? What kind of nose is this? God, what did I do? Did you bring trailer to run on my nose? What did I do? God, why? Look at my forehead. All they can come on, okay? God, why? Why will you give me this kind of forehead? God, why? Look at me. Everybody is thinking that there is a boy on my head, but this is the forehead that I came to life with. Father, why? My friend, appreciate God for how he has made you. Appreciate God for how he has made you. Am I talking to you now? With the way you are made, you fit in somewhere. You can be more knowledgeable than the designer. He is the God of all flesh. He made you so. No matter how you are, be proud of who you are. Thank him. Worship him. If you hear me, say here. Listen to me. Anytime you are ashamed of who you are, you lose who you are. And I will begin to conclude from there. They knew him, but they do not worship him as God. They do not glorify him as God. They glorify him as an alternative. They do not glorify him as God. When you come to church, we say, lift your hands and worship the Lord. You just do it like you are doing me a favor. When I say, open your mouth and praise God, you're praising him like you're doing me a favor. God, why have I not paid my children's school fees? Is God indebted to you? My friend, worship him. He will give you what he wants to give to you. Some of you are giving God condition for worship. God, I'm giving you 2 days. Either you give me this or I'll stop going to church. Shall I also remind you that if I stop coming here, Toknadu will not end? You didn't hear me. God will not change the vision. He will only erase another. But you will be surprised. You will be surprised. Another person will show up and take it and move it to the next level. Because no man is indispensable. What you think you can do the best is because God positioned you there. Always glorify God and guide it jealously that no man take it away from you. Because I read my Bible, I have seen his ministry, let another take. And I pray to God every day that let no other take my ministry till I'm done. And that is why I fight and I labor. I walk like I'm not praying and I pray like I'm not walking. I don't sleep, I don't rest because I still want to be relevant in the kingdom. Don't you ever get to that point where you are so full of yourself, where you feel everybody should come and worship you and bow down to you because there's something you were doing that nobody else can do. No, you are in that space now. If you move away from there, better persons will step in. That is the truth. No one man is indispensable. No one woman is indispensable as far as God is concerned. Anytime you make yourself another God, he will reduce you and show you that him alone is God. Worship him as God. Don't worship him as your mate. Don't worship him with conditions. Don't worship him giving him conditions. Don't worship him with rules. Some of us worship God Only when you are in charge, everything must go my way. If it doesn't go my way, I will scatter it. My friend, not here. There is God who is the owner of the church. And he said, I will build my church and the gates of hell shall not prevail. He said, I will build my church. You are not the one upon whom he is building the church. He is the one building the church. And he said, the gates of hell shall not prevail. If he decides to use you, that is his choice. But if you say no to him, he will raise another. He went as far as giving me warning, and I fear God for that. He said, if you fail to worship me, I will raise stones to worship me. I said, God, please wait. I will worship you. Stones don't have to come. And he's not a man that he will lie. Neither is he the son of man that he will deceive anybody. There are some people who are standing, sitting here, waiting. Any opportunity they will step in and they will move this thing forward. And I became more fearful of God and worship of God, brother, when I read my Bible and I saw a servant of God. Elijah said to God, Father, I am the only prophet remaining. I want you to kill me yourself. He said to God, God, kill me. Let me have the honor of being killed by God than the disgrace of being killed by Jezebel. He said, Jezebel have killed all the prophets. I am the only one remaining. And the man who is talking is Prophet Elijah, who is a major prophet in his time, but he doesn't know it all. He said, I'm the only one remaining. And God surprised him. God said, Elijah, that is what you are thinking. You are thinking you are the only one remaining. You are not the only one remaining. There are 7,000 prophets that Jezebel do not know. They are amongst the people. They are waiting in the making. They are anointed with oil. For God to say they are prophets, they are prophets. He said there are 7,000 of them. Every one of them a carrier of oil. Every one of them loaded with fire. Every one of them empowered by grace. 7,000 of them at the cooking pot. 7,000 of them at the training level. He said none of them have bowed down to Baal. You are not the only one that have not bowed down to Baal. He says 7,000 of them, none of them have bowed down to Baal. And they got to a time in the life of Elijah. I want to talk to you now. This is the man who said, God, let me die now. But when God finished talking to him, God gave him food to eat, and after eating, Elijah said, Lord, let's carry on. I want to still walk. But you said you wanted to die. He said, no, I don't want to die anymore. Let me walk. I pray for you. By the time you will realize that you need God, let it not be too late for you. By the time you will realize that this family is your family, let it not be too late for you. Don't destroy what you have built. By the time you will realize that no other family where you will go and rest and have peace like here. If God brought you here, this is your family. We need you to succeed. You need us to succeed. Let us worship him as God. Touch your neighbor, say worship him as God. I'm not hearing you. Touch your neighbor, say worship him as God. When you come to the women's group, don't come like you are helping God to succeed. When you come for the men's meeting, don't come for men's meeting and give us condition. Worship him as God. Touch your neighbor, say worship him as God. Don't come here to show us yourself. We are here to see God. We are here to worship God. Don't come here to subdue and subject all of us. If everyone bow to you, then we are making you God. You will die. That is the truth. Anytime you take the position of God, you become close to death. Because the last thing God will take from you is for you to raise yourself above. Lucifer thought it in his heart. And where he has been since then, he has not recovered. You don't have to. Touch your neighbor, say calm down. Touch that neighbor, say calm down. Don't allow what God has given to you to run into your head. Don't allow what God has done for you to run into your head. Most times you tell God not to prosper you, and that is why the prosperity of many are limited. The blessing you have now and you are shouting, it's not the level of blessing God wants to give you. But the truth of the matter is that the one he gave you, you are not using it to worship. If you want God to bless you the more, use the one he gave you to worship him. Many who stored this money never knew the people that used the money. You don't need to pack the money anywhere. What you give you the highest joy is how much money you have used to worship God. Plant it in the kingdom. Worship God with what he has given you. Don't come here to compete with anybody. Don't compete with anybody. If this pastor is doing, okay, if he's doing like this, I want to do it. Now, my friend, do your own. Let him do his own. Are you a singer? Sing your own. Let another sing his own. There is no competition. My friend, you can't be me. I cannot be you. I need you. You need me. There's an area where you are good, but there's another area where I'm good. When your own area come, do it like unto the Lord. When it comes to my own, I will do it like unto the Lord. And all of us are succeeding, and the name of the Lord is being praised. There is something you can do. There is something another can do. Don't you ever look down on what another can do, only to praise the one you can do. Some of us, we have this attitude of if you are not on top, then let it collapse. My friend, that is a bad attitude to have. Any group you belong to, if they don't take your own opinion, then you will scatter the meeting. You will sow seed of discord. You will discourage members. You will not come for meetings. You will not encourage others to do well. My friend, you are not worshiping God. And most times we make mistakes. We think we are fighting the leader. We are fighting the owner of the church. And God is the owner of the church. No man owns church. Church is God's property. And that is why those who own church do not succeed. Anytime anybody stand up and say, I want to own a church, and you open church as business, that church must come down. Because the primary thing is that the church belongs to Jesus. No man shed his blood on the cross of Calvary for the kingdom. He is the one who did, and church is his own. That is why it takes a man and a woman who doesn't know God to say, I'm leaving the church because of this person. The way you are insulting me in this church, I'm leaving the church for you. The person you are leaving church for, is it the owner of the church? Nobody should have capacity to send you away from the church. Because the church is the church of our Lord Jesus Christ. Not even me can send you away from here. Because I'm looking for God as well as you are looking for him. Make up your mind to serve him and worship him as God. Don't come here to make yourself another God. It doesn't work that way. Am I talking to somebody? He said they knew him, but they do not glorify him as God. They do not worship him as God. Worship him as God. Come down and worship him. The reason you are not lifted yet is because you are not worshiping him as God. You are so full of yourself. If God bless some of you here today so much, every morning you come to church, you tell me, show you my head, I show you. Give me a boy. My brother, give me a boy. And that is what God is waiting for. God is saying, can you come down? I want to lift you. I want to exalt you. I want to take you somewhere. I want to plant you upon higher grounds. You have not been planted yet, but this man is wasting time to come out. Okay, let him see that. My friend, come down. Worship him like unto the Lord. You are so full of yourself. Everybody should come and bow down to you. That you did what now? If you are Jesus that died on the cross of Calvary, that means we will not even benefit. Come down. Why will you not attend meetings? Why are you thinking in your heart that some people are big and some people are small? It is only that thing you have in your mind that will make you, when somebody talk to you, say, you are insulting me. Why are you insulting me? Something in your heart is telling you you are more than that person. Come on now. And that thing in your heart that is telling you you are more than that person is pride. And pride goes before a fall. It takes a proud person to talk like that. That thing in your heart that is telling you that this person is a nobody. Who told you that there is somebody that is a nobody? Everybody is somebody. It's only time and the chance that happened to them all. It may be your time today, but hold on, another person's time is coming. Don't you ever think that this person is nobody? This person is too small. This person is nothing. Don't look down on anybody. You are not God. God is in heaven. I don't care where he has positioned you today. It is by his grace. Handle it with humility. Another person is coming tomorrow. Your boy today may be your boss tomorrow. Don't look down on anybody. Can you help me preach that message and drive it home? Tell your neighbor, say, don't look down on anybody. Worship him as God. There are people who will call you, you answer. There are people who will call you, you will not answer them. As you are passing now, somebody say, mommy, auntie. When you turn and look at the person, you are going your way, because for you, this one is insignificant. This one is nothing. Who do you think you are that another is not? You look at yourself to be too big. You look at yourself to be too high. You look at yourself to be highly placed. Every other person should be bowing down so you can match their head. Can I say this to you? Pride goes before a fall. Anytime that thing begins to come inside of you, you are close to downfall. Help me tell your neighbor, say you need help. Talk quickly, say you need help. If you are not talking now, we know you are one of them. Say you need help. You don't need anybody who will tell you that you are the highest. And that is why anybody who is praising you in your corner wants you to remain at the corner. You don't have to remain at the corner. There is something the English word called conscience. The Bible describes it most times as the spirit of a man. Everybody have it. When you are wrong, you know you are wrong. Don't you ever admire anybody who will support you in your wrong. That person is a danger to your destiny. No matter how it hurts, you need somebody who will look you in the face and say you are wrong. Anybody who can do that is somebody that you should stick onto. But anybody who will worship you in your wrong is somebody that wants you dead. That person wants your downfall. When you are wrong, you know it, you are wrong. The only thing is that your flesh need people who will massage it. Don't feed the flesh. Anytime you feed the flesh to grow, you're killing the spirit to die. Because both of them are contexting on the inside of you. Subdue the flesh that the spirit may grow. The flesh has to do with things that are comfortable with the flesh. Things that appeals to the flesh. You don't need it. When you are going wrong and somebody walks up to you and say, even if everybody leave you, I'm behind you, that person is a danger. That is the person that is not behind you. He or she doesn't want you to succeed. Don't you ever take sides with somebody who is doing the wrong thing and you are supporting the person in the wrong thing that person is doing for whatever relationship's sake. No matter who that person is. No matter how I love you, when you are wrong, I look you in the face and say, brother, you are wrong. And that is even more reason you should know I love you. If I love you, I should be able to tell you the truth. But anytime you are wrong, and everyone around you scolds you, you will change. True or false? You will stop it. But when some people are telling you you are wrong, and some other people are telling you you are right, you are in between two opinions. And the flesh may likely prevail. Then you toughen up. And those who told you the truth will now be your enemy. And those who lied to you will now be your friends. But in the end, you are the loser. Yes, Papa. In the end, you will lose. Why will you lose? One, God will not be on your side. Because no matter how you do it, when you are wrong, God will never support you. Never. God will never support you because he is not a man. Worship him like unto God. Listen to me. Don't praise people because that's what they want. Don't you ever do it. Don't you praise people because they want praises. Some of us praise people before them, then we go behind them and say, leave her now. Is it not what you want? I've given it to her. Let her be going. Do you know there are people like that? They know what you are doing is wrong. They come before you, finish them. Hey, we are behind you, finish them. They go behind you. True of us. They go behind you and say, see this one. There are some of them who will encourage you to challenge the church leadership. They will not challenge you, but they will ask you to do. They will put you in forefront so that God will strike you. And you think you are wise. You think you are tough enough. You can talk. You have the power. You have the strength. They will lure you. They will push you. You will go and put yourself in trouble. And what you don't know is that Igbo people said that all pala. You don't know they're killing you. You don't know they're deceiving you. You think you're being tough. You don't know you're killing yourself. My friend, calm down. Fear God. Worship him as God. Stop this thing. Some of you are playing games. You don't know nobody can play games with God. You didn't come in here to make friends. You came in here to meet the Lord. Any friendship that will not edify your spirit is not a friendship to keep. I said it before and let me repeat myself. Anybody you meet in church that will call you on the phone and after discussing with you, your faith begin to shake, don't answer the person's call again. Delete the person's number. Block the person on everything. You don't need such a person. You need people who will call you on the phone and your zeal and your heart for God will be pumping higher. Not somebody who will finish talking to you and when you come to church you will be so moody. That person is an agent. Don't ask me for the sender because I will be quick to answer. It's the devil that sent the person. And the target of the person is to destroy your worship stand so that they can get you. Anybody who will finish talking to you and fear will grip you about your worship and about your church is an enemy. Run far from that person. Any person who makes evil right in your eyes. Anybody who covers you when you are wrong. Anybody who will tell you when it is time to judge the matter, I know how to defend you, I know how to defend you. Anybody who will tell you that is an enemy, that person should be able to tell you that you are not doing it right. And let me tell you what these people do. For you to know them, simple. Anything that is moving, they don't like it. They don't like anything to move well. Anytime anything is going on in church and they are not the ones superheading it, they will want to cause confusion. They will want to talk it down. They will want to say it is not good. They will want to run it down. They will want to scatter it. But yet when you give them leadership, the leadership becomes stranded. They don't know how to lead. They will not support good leaders. When they are the helm of affairs, you can't count any achievement. When they are the helm of affairs, no achievement. The only thing you will see is that gossip will be on the increase. Worldliness will be on the increase. Division, scattering, murmuring, slandering will be on the increase. Everything that represents the devil is what you will see. But still, they want to be at the helm of affairs. They have group. They hold meetings more than you. They don't sleep at night. They keep chatting. They keep calling. They keep sending messages. Evil people. They don't have time to pray, but they have time to chat. Wow. God is out. As we are talking now, look at this girl with her daughter. For the past 4 days, they've been looking for her father. They can't tell where he went to. No call, no sign, nobody can see him. Her husband is being accused because the husband used to walk with the father. They say he knows where the man is, but the husband doesn't know. Will I see such a case and keep quiet? That is why God is God. Then what am I going to do? I will do like Toknadu. I will do like Toknadu. I will call Mr. Stephen and I will ask him that wherever he is now, in the next 2 hours, let him be on his way home. The powers that turned his head will leave his head and he is coming home. In the next 2 hours, your father is on his way back to the house. You people go and relax and rest. There is peace on every side. Settle, settle, settle. Anybody who took the name of your son and laid it upon the feet of a wicked shrine to ensure that that boy will be plunged into uselessness upon the altar of the God of Toknadu, I give the person 30 minutes. The person will take the position of he want to put your son, and your son will come back to normal. This case is settled. 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 Tablet will not stop his own. No matter how they treat him, they told you it is malaria that ran into your head. It's not malaria. It is Samson that did it to you. Samson will carry it. Settle. 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 Go.